Today we are in Italy with the Alfa Romeo Junior. And I hear you think that we've already driven that car, which is true, but this is the new Q4 version. This means it's four-wheel drive, and that makes it extra exciting, of course. My name is Peter, and in this video I'm gonna take you around this car and we're gonna see if this Q4 is indeed the solution that you didn't know you were looking for, because obviously it's a normal hybrid powertrain here in the front, but they've added an extra electric motor to the rear axle, giving you extra traction when you need to, but not the loss in efficiency when you don't need it. So that's an interesting concept, and we're going to see and find out if it is actually useful. So we are in the mountains around Turin, as you can see, so it's a perfect opportunity to put this car to the test for a little bit and see if that four-wheel drive actually makes sense. All right, driving the Alfa Romeo Q4. What's it all about? So fundamentally we have an Alfa Romeo Junior, and in this one is the normal hybrid variety. So we have a petrol engine in the front coupled to a 21 kilowatt hour electric motor in the gearbox. So that's nice, front wheel drive most of the time. This one in particular though, with the being the Q4, has an extra 21 kilowatt hour motor on the rear axle. And that means that the car can theoretically be four-wheel drive. There's a few options as far as that goes. The first option is that the car figures it out by himself. So depending on the angle of the road, depending on the available grip and so on, the car will use the four-wheel drive system when needed. Or you can put it in Q mode yourself, and that means you have effectively permanent four-wheel drive. So you can play around with that a little bit depending on your needs. And actually that gives you quite a lot of flexibility, because on the one hand you have a normal front-wheel drive car most of the time, because let's be honest, you don't need four-wheel drive all of the time. And you do get that four-wheel drive when the situation allows it or requires it, so to speak, which is actually quite nice. So it gives you a bit of the best of both worlds in a way, that you can have the efficiency of a normal front-wheel drive hybrid car, but still have the grip of a four-wheel drive car when desired. And because it's only electric four-wheel drive, there's no extra gearboxes necessary, or there's no extra drivetrains or differentials necessary, because it's not connected at all to the front-wheel drive system. So that's actually quite clever done by Stellantis to make it that way, that it gives you the best of both worlds in that way too, that you have the efficiency and not the complexity of a constant four-wheel drive system. Does that mean this is the last word in hardcore off-road driving? Absolutely, under no circumstance it is. This is not an all-terrain car by any stretch of the imagination. This is just a car with some additional capabilities when the situation requires. So forget any kind of off-roading or crazy cross-country crossing or anything. None of that is happening in this car. It's still a small compact SUV. But it is nice to have that extra capability when the weather is bad or when there's a situation with less grip. Luckily, Alfa Romeo has provided us with a little bit of off-road driving to test out this Q4 system. Now, I'll be the first one to admit that this is not any kind of hardcore off-road terrain kind of work. I haven't seen any parked Land Cruisers or anything, but it is a nice opportunity to give this car a little bit of context. So, first of all, this is not an off-road car. Let's be clear about that. Alfa Romeo is not an off-road brand, neither is this car. But it is nice to have that little bit of extra with the four-wheel drive system, that when the circumstances require, you do have a few more options. First option is that you let the car figure it out by himself. All is well there. Car looks at the angle of attack and obviously at the traction or loss of traction, and will adjust accordingly. The other option that we are in now is the Q4 option. You can use the Alpha DNA button to put it into Q4 mode, which means you have permanent four-wheel drive with that electric motor on the rear axle. The car, there's a program where you, up until a certain speed, you always have four-wheel drive, and then above a certain speed the car will still predominantly be front-wheel drive for efficiency reasons, but the rear will always be engaged and ready to be used whenever the circumstances require. So it's a bit more responsive that way, that you can get the traction when you most need it. Now, that said, it is a clever concept, but the question is, when and where are you actually going to use it? I mean, obviously now we are in the mountains in Italy, but it is 15 degrees, 12 degrees in the beginning of spring, so there's no snow, there's no water, there's no loss of traction or anything going on in here. So yeah, not really relevant there. And I honestly believe that with 21 kilowatts on the rear axle, you're not really going to make the difference in any kind of terrain. So as far as that goes, this is not an off-road car, and I don't think that four-wheel drive per se in itself adds a lot that way. But there's plenty of circumstances you can think of where four-wheel drive might be relevant, with weather, with road conditions that are not optimal. Maybe you're somebody who needs to go into a field every once in a while. For that, it could make that little bit of difference where you get that little bit extra traction and get you out of some kind of situation. Not really sure though that that is relevant for most people, because if that is a situation you find yourself in often, I would recommend getting better tires rather than four-wheel drive this way. All around though, I don't really think it adds that much extra in terms of the driving experience. It's a little bit heavier, but efficiency is fine. But I don't really see the use case for day-to-day driving. If you ask Alfa about it, they say that the car can corner sharper and corner harder, and that there's certain steering positions that are easier to do with the four-wheel drive system. I'm sure that's all true, but on paper and in real life, you're not really going to sit going off the highway and go like, ooh, yeah, that's a 13% wider steering angle, so now I can take the corner a lot sharper. Like, I don't really think that's relevant in the real world. So there's quite a lot to choose when it comes to the Alfa Romeo Junior. I got the price list for the Netherlands right here. You can start for just under 35,000 with the 1.2 turbo engine with just front-wheel drive. That's the hybrid, the regular hybrid. You can switch to this four-wheel drive version with the rear-wheel extra electric motor for 42,000, so that's quite a jump. If you want to go full electric, also possible for 39,000. And if you want to go crazy with the electric one, you can get the 280 horsepower Veloci for 48,100 euro. So a lot to choose within the model. After a whole day in the mountains of Turin with this Alfa Romeo Junior, is this the one to buy? I don't think so. I think the added value of the four-wheel drive system is a very limited real-world application that's only valid for some people. So if you are that person, I think you know, and then this might be an option for you. Otherwise, I think the regular hybrid is probably better for most people. That said, if you are somebody who likes to add a lot of toys to your regular model, then you might as well consider this one, because it does come with a lot of kit as standard. If it's your primary vehicle, hybrid is the good choice. I think it's the one to go for. If it's your secondary vehicle, then I think the electric version of this Junior is also quite a good solution. As far as looks and styling and that Alfa Romeo feeling goes, you either like this or you don't. I think that's quite simple as well. It's a good looking car as far as I'm concerned. But you have to buy into that whole Alfa feeling and that Alfa philosophy. If that's for you, look no further. This is a very nice, cool, small, compact car. If it isn't, then that's pretty clear for you as well, I think. That's all I got for this video. Thanks for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked the video. A sub to the channel is always appreciated. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers!